Okay, so just looking for confirmation. Okay, so we are live on Facebook right now. My name is Joey Harbor from Creation Revelation, and this is hopefully one of many events that are coming, but it is our Teaching the Bible event. This is something that I've been very passionate about and something that I have been wanting to do for quite some time to encourage women and men who have been wanting to teach the Bible, who have been maybe doing it for many years. Maybe someone's completely new to the Bible or new to teaching. And we wanted to host an event with experienced Bible class teachers who can help encourage and give us some tips and directions on how we can teach the Bible. So I just am going to pause right here real quick just to make sure that I am live on Instagram. We are trying to go live on both platforms, which can always have some hiccups here and there. But if y'all just bear with me real quick, I'm going to make sure that Instagram is with us. And I'll go and click record on my end as well. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. Thank you all for joining us on Facebook. So glad y'all are here and glad that it's working. If we can't get it to work on Instagram, we will definitely record and upload the video onto Instagram later. Okay. All right, so I think let's go ahead and get started. So as I said, my name is Harbor from Creation Revelation, and this is our family business. It is something that my husband started doing back when he was 12 into high school, and it's giving resources to Bible class teachers, to families, to help teach the Bible, to have visuals to simplify and amplify your Bible class teaching. And I want to go ahead and introduce these two very special speakers, teachers who are with us today. And our first is Sarah Ligon. She is a wife and mother of 4 kids from ages 3 to 8. She homeschools and she has been teaching Bible class for 18 years. She has taught Bible classes from babies all the way up to middle school and ladies' days. And her husband and she are in charge of the classes at their church, planning out curriculum, writing curriculum for their congregation for about 3 years. And so we're so excited, Sarah, for you to join us. And then our second guest is Karen Turner. She is also a wife and mother and grandmother of 3 grandchildren. She's been teaching Bible class for over 50 years. She's been using CTR products back when it was a CD, back when Brian first designed it as a teenager. And what she brings to the table, what both Sarah and Karen bring to the table, I'm excited to share with y'all, particularly about Sarah's work in building curriculum and Karen's work in creating a Bible lab. So welcome, both of you. I guess I'd like to go ahead and just start off with our first question, which Sarah, will start with you, is what does it take to be a Bible class teacher? I think something maybe if they've never taught before, they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I have to know a lot about the Bible, or I've never taught before. So what's something that you would share with our viewers today that it takes to be a Bible class teacher?
I would say it takes learning with the kids. I felt like I had gaps in my Bible class knowledge, and teaching Emma for the first time, my firstborn, I learned so much. I was so excited. And I would say, though, don't feel like you have to have all the bells and whistles when you first start out. Like, I am not the same teacher I was 18 years ago. I have learned how to mature different things, but I started out simple because that's what worked for me to learn how to do it. It takes the Bible. At the end of the day, it takes the Bible. Are you pointing people and children, especially, to God? And when you teach that, me and my husband have two completely different approaches to teaching the Bible.
That we are live again. Everyone, thank you for bearing with us. I'm sorry that it kind of glitched and got quiet for a minute. So, all right. I believe we are live again. So where we're going to try and catch back up with is we're talking about the goal of, what is the goal of Bible class? So Sarah, could you repeat your answer for the goal of Bible class?
I've been really trying to emphasize with my kids this quarter and some past quarters and hopefully future quarters that the same God that helped David defeat Goliath, the same God that saved Daniel from the lion's den, the same God that did the 10 plagues, which my 3-year-old is obsessed with right now, that's the same God we serve now. And the things we do now can bring glory to him just in the same way David and Daniel and Moses did, the same way we can strive to serve him in all that we do. He's going to guide and protect us throughout that too. So as Karen said, bringing it back to God, because ultimately at the end of the day, all glory goes to him. And it's very easy to get caught up in, like you said, the workbooks, the manipulatives, all that. But are we pointing them towards God?
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so I'm just going to check again if we're live again. Thank you all for your patience. Because we put this message out to as many as we can. So thank you, everyone. And this is not something that I'm used to doing. I'm very much an in-person conversation, like having a conversation and encouraging other people. But this is the best way to connect with a lot other people out there who could really encouragement. I remember when I went to one of the homeschooling conventions, there were some converts as well, and they felt so intimidated, about, I don't know anything about the Bible. Where do I start? So we just really wanted to make sure that this out to everyone. So I may go ahead, in case this doesn't work, we're going to just go live on Facebook. As I'm getting that set up, let's go ahead to our next question. Some of the challenges that come with teaching Bible class can be many. I feel like we could do several talks of some of the challenges that we could meet. Maybe you've dealt with like large class sizes or kids with different attention spans or learning needs. Sarah, could you share a little bit about your experience with that, with like the different attention spans or learning needs?
Yes. So it's actually quite funny because I'm really excited to teach next quarter, but I'm going to have 9, 2, and 3-year-olds. And everyone is like, oh no. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be the most exciting thing ever, guys. Like, it's going to be great. But we have brand new 2-year-olds. We have 3-year-olds about to move up. We have different attention spans because you have 2 and 3-year-olds. And I've taught the 2 and 3-year-olds class many, many times. I was so excited because I'm doing the Kings and I was looking at my material and I was like, this is not going to work at all. Like with the group of kids I have, it is not going to work. But I think that's where really tailoring your class to the group of kids, knowing the kids you're going to have, makes a huge difference when teaching class. I was really excited. I posted this on my Instagram and it's gotten more likes, is I made interactive story cards for this next quarter for it with the big picture on the back. And they'll have little popsicle sticks to hold up. But really knowing your kids and knowing what target audience you have really helps in helping me guide teach. Because at the end of the day, as long as we're teaching the Bible, there's so many different facets of doing it. There's so many different ways you can do it that still honors God's word as his word. Caleb really enjoys just having a Creation to Revelation page in the coloring sheet, and he'll ask questions. He's dealt with different learning abilities too, but he likes the simplicity of it. I said, I wish my brain worked that way. It does not. But I like being able to really gear it. Like, for the first time in our congregation's long time, we have a bunch of boys. We've had so many girls, but we have a bunch of boys. And if they're like my boys, they don't sit very still for very long. So I made this class very interactive, and I have crowns, I have hearts, I have lambs. I couldn't get permission to get a real lamb for class, but that's okay. But I have interactive things for them because I'm gearing it towards the age group I'm teaching. And when you do that, it's so helpful to the kids. I don't view it as, oh, I have to make sure I cover this, 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 this. I'm not that organized of a person. But as long as they're taking away truths about who God is from the lesson and really connecting to it, I view that as a win, and being able to adapt to meet the needs of the class.
Yeah, definitely. And Karen, I know you have a unique experience with that as well, because of the Bible Lab that you've created that has kids from every age, from littles like high school. So could you share some of your experience with that?
Sure. Yeah, we've had the great opportunity with our support of our elders to create a lab that we lack teachers like many small congregations do. And so Wednesday evening can be a challenge. So we created a lab centered around the 17 time periods with certain time periods used each quarter. And there's activities on each station. So I literally have 2-year-old through middle school together on Wednesday evening, and have added teens to be my assistants in there with one other adult. And the advantage has been the children have gained great knowledge on various topics, interactive, and attendance can be a problem on Wednesday evening. So that factor is met by this Bible Lab, because nobody's has to be on a certain lesson. It's sort of self-guided by a sheet, a map sheet, a journey sheet. And then the teens are the one-on-one. And we've already had our first group of teens take on a Bible class after working in the Bible Lab, because they have the confidence to do that now.
That's amazing. And I feel like that's so important for just like each next generation, and just, and it helps with burnout too. You're training up, I mean, even just teens, or I know some parents would like visit in on your Bible Lab as well. And so just seeing it laid out as an example for them.
The very youngest. Yeah, that's actually how we start the very youngest student. Mom comes in and stays with them in a learning center for the first month, 2 months, to get them adjusted. And by that point, they've developed a relationship with another young adult. And so mom can then slip out to her class.
Yeah, that really helps with the comfort level too, that separation anxiety sometimes. But I know that when I was a kid, having a teen be interested in helping me with someone, that made feel so important. So combining different age groups and them that, no, this is not just like an adult thing to do. This is like taking ownership of, passing on what you've learned. Some people may not realize, oh, I know more than I thought I did, or there's more that I need to learn.
I have some middle school students who will be high school students when we go into the fall, and they can't wait to be the leader and be the team assistant.
Karen, you and I need to talk afterwards about this.
Yeah, we may have to have another session after this, just on like the Bible Lab, because there's so many different things we can do. But then for those who are like, I don't know that I can do a Bible Lab, I think something that I've realized is if you're just starting out, is if you read the Bible yourself and then put it in your own words, maybe for littles, or if they're, upper elementary, definitely middle school, like you have them read and then just see what they think about it. I know that giving a voice to some of these kids, I mean, I know, the preschool age will tell you everything they think they know. And sometimes it's harder to get other kids talking about what they're reading. But so it doesn't have to, kind of going back to our first topic was like, what does it take to be a Bible class teacher? You can just start by reading the Bible. We have lots of visuals that are helpful to just kind of show with creation revelation, just to kind of show what's happening in the scene, maybe a coloring page and things like that. But I know both of you didn't start out like at the level that you are now, like the capacity that you're able to take on. But everyone starts, at the beginning, just taking that first step on, just trying to tell other people what they're reading about in the Bible.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Of course, go for it.
So there's a joke in my family right now. So Nathan, who's 5, does not like me as a teacher. He has told me this repeatedly. I'm too unorganized for his brain and whatnot. So I was like, how am I going to connect to this kid? I have literally bought this kid everything and then some, and nothing is connecting to this kid. But what it took and what I really appreciated was the just straight from the Bible, the Exodus and Leviticus glean mat. This thing is the most well-loved thing ever. And I was like, I need all these bells and whistles and I need all of this. And no, the placemat and the peg dolls that Holly made for us, these 3 peg dolls. And that's all he wanted. And it made sense to him, to the point now he's just like, oh, they have workbook pages with tracing. Can we do that this fall, Mom? So the kid I thought would never learn and I would never be able to connect with, even just reading from the Bible connects to young children. I always say, if they can learn all the Bluey characters, they can learn all the people in the Bible.
I agree, Sarah. You're right on track with it. And I think also supporting teachers is a big part of it. And so I know I've talked to leaders and elders and congregations to really set some things in place that support teachers, whether that's like right now we have team leads. So you may be a new lead, a new teacher, but who do I go ask a question, or who do I get to help me? And so having that other one-on-one kind of person is important. The other thing that is that word I want to talk about, guidance and discipline, but having standards and where parents know and teachers know what have we all agreed on is the way we'll allow our Bible classes to be conducted. That I think is really important. And then I go back to knowing that family and ask that family if you have some questions about that individual child. They know that child the very best and have the best advice for you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've been in classes where, one kid's behavior is completely different from the other, and they might be at a different level or things like that. And I've met some great teachers who help kids with disabilities still be a part of the Bible class and still get that experience of being with their peers, because that's important. But like you said, talking with the parents, making sure this is what we're trying to do. And so sometimes there will be teachers or just one specific person that may not even be the parent, but comes into the classroom to help that particular child, whether it's autism or a learning disability or, things like that, that can be that person's partner to help them through the class. Because I think kids just enjoy it more when they're with other children as well. But it's so important to have that structure. So what about, can y'all speak, have y'all ever been in situations where maybe your kids are the only ones in the congregation? Or what would you say to someone where your kids are the only one in the congregation and you might be the only teacher? What would you say to that parent who's also trying to be the teacher. Karen, could you go first?
Yeah, I grew up in an extremely small congregation. And so I know that feeling as the child almost. And I think as the parent of those children, you just have to stay focused and refocus again, knowing that that's a priority and all. And to encourage others to join you. Maybe they don't want to be a full time teacher, but could you join me this month to help me and see what we're doing? So just constantly bringing in other people in some fashion to help you so you don't burn out and become discouraged.
Definitely. Sarah, do you have anything to add?
Ditto. No. I would just encourage, even because I know sometimes we get, even just as normal teachers, we get in a routine of, okay, it's the same one, same lesson, same style. Mix it up sometimes. Try something completely different and new with your kids. And it's unique because they're your own kids. And so they can be your guinea pigs, so to speak. That probably sounded worse than it actually meant. But you can try new things with them because you have that opportunity in that unique situation. But don't grow weary in doing good. And that's hard, but that passage has spoken a lot to me more recently, just with Bible class. I usually have 3 or 4 curriculums writing at a time. And so just remind yourself to not grow weary in doing good, because ultimately you're bringing them to God.
That's powerful from a personal faith perspective as well. And then Karen sharing how you grew up that way. And we were in a congregation where my kids were the only kids. Sometimes we'd have a few visitors, but I never knew what I was going to get that day. And then some of the older members, my mom included, say, hey, what can we do to help support Joey and teaching Bible class? Because some of them had done it in years past. And so even if you have done it in your younger years, or maybe you're older and you have never taught before, it's never too late to start, because you will learn so much more. And Sarah, kind of going off of what you said earlier, I've had my own kids say, Mom, this is boring. So that's also another reason why we're doing this event, is to give some tips and ideas. So let's go to that. Like, Sarah, what are some of your favorite resources right now? I know you mentioned the placemats. I mean, it doesn't have to be CTR, obviously. It can be other products as well. But what is something that you love using in your class?
So in my class or at home, or both, because I use a variety of things. In class, I've discovered these. They are not CTR related, but I'm obsessed, are hand puppets. They are helpful for me because it's knowing your kid. Nathan loved the peg dolls. Peter was like, I want nothing to do with those. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Sure. And then he discovered the little rubber hand puppets, like the animal ones. And he's like, Mom, these are the best. And I got him these, and he actually almost has memorized all 12 of the apostles of the puppets. And we just got them this week.
That's so cute.
So different things like that work. For new teachers, I did this for starting out. I printed out all the people, cut them out, and put them on magnets. And that's how we learned it. And that was a simple, easy way of doing it, where I didn't feel like I have to be so handy with technology, because I was not when I started. And I know one of the questions is, what software do you use? I still use PowerPoint. I am not Canva Pro yet. Life goals. I use PowerPoint to do it. And so I don't want it to seem like, oh, you need all this fancy software, all this crazy stuff. I use PowerPoint. I also use the spirals. My friend Danae is teaching Peter right now, and she said I made all these fun crafts, and my kids just loved the judge's spiral. They like and singing through the judge's spiral. So I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, but we don't have to. Sometimes it's the simplest things. When they first came out, I was like, I'm never going to buy one of these. I don't understand them. Dry erase books. They are my saving grace half the time.
Oh, good.
Because my kids love them because they would color. And then I'd be like, okay, and then Nathan was like, I made a mark on it. I'm not coloring it again, Mom. And I'm like, okay, I can't keep buying all of these all the time. So dry erase books. But one thing I will say is don't be discouraged when your kid just colors all the people blue. Okay? Don't be discouraged when that happens. I was like, are they getting anything out of this? This was Kate. All of her people were blue. And I was like, okay, are we aliens? And she'd be like, and then I would ask her a question and she's like, oh yeah, this, and this happened in the story. And I said, okay, you can keep drawing blue people. We are where we are. So I just finding different ways to tie it in at home and in class. I get in trouble because I make all the curriculum that I've gotten in trouble with Danae before, like, don't use that worksheet at home. Let me use it in class, type thing. So one resource I like are the Go Fish decks, because it connects what they're learning and it makes it fun and interactive at home. Caleb did the Divided Kings in class because he only had 2 kids one quarter, and they learned all of the kings in order, even just by playing the Go Fish deck. So it's just neat. I've rambled now probably way longer. I have so much stuff. I have a problem.
But you would say, like, at least for like a program for making like your own worksheets and stuff. So you use PowerPoint
Yes.
a lot. And I had used that before, and then I slowly learned Canva, which I would recommend to people as well. I'm just poking at it every now and then, because it's easy to upload like the digital license files, pop them in and place them in. And so it's kind of fun. It's actually like a little creative outlet. And then there's also like, it's easy to just print with all of our digital licenses, pretty much. I mean, maybe Generations is the exception. But all of our digital licenses pretty much have a coloring page to go along with it. Or our monthly mustard seeds. I will grab those. Like there were times where someone had got sick and I needed to fill in and teach. I'm like, okay, this is what they're covering. I'm going to grab, these flashcards and then the monthly mustard seeds, which are activity pages. And so that was usually like my go-to in a scramble. Karen, what do you use?
I use all kind of things. Probably not as digital as most of you. I do some simple things. I call them story stones. And I just do chronological stories, just simple little drawings. This is creation. I know this sounds silly, but the children, well, I'm having trouble manipulating it. But anyway, you get the idea, and they're able to manipulate them and use them to retell the story, because retell is really important in children's development and all. Love the monthly mustard. Actually, right now we got in a bind. We do classes Sunday morning and Sunday evening, which is really different. And so we start our challenge with teachers. And so we're going to do a review of the Old Testament timeline, time periods. And so I'm using monthly mustard that was that last year or the year before, but one of the previous years anyway, and pulling those worksheets and putting it together. Probably my activity I'm loving the most right now, and most of you got to laugh, it's solar cups that have the timelines in them. So you set the solar cups in timeline order, and then the kids can put the name of the time period in, the length of the time period, the scripture are all on cards. So they put them all in the right place. the main characters in the right place. And my next goal is to have a little map, little bitty map that goes in each one. But it's amazing. My youngest kids can do several steps of that. And then say my third graders can put in all the scriptures, how long that timeline was, who was the major character. We just learned which prophets went to which time period by just using those silly solar cups, the red cups. So that's one of mine.
But see, that's just an example of like how simple something can be. Like,
yeah,
if it's just a container.
Yeah, we try to make it too complicated. And one thing I'm using just to help a group of little older kids right now is this year's monthly mustard, the Acts on prayer. That really connected with me, and I've found those really thoughtful, even for my own spiritual thinking.
Yeah, I'm so glad. It stretched me. I was writing the first half, and I'll go ahead and share with y'all. I asked Sarah to help write the last half of the mustard seeds. I have a lot of things going on, and I was a little sad to hand it over to someone else, but I knew I could trust Sarah with it. But the focus on prayer, it's our relationship with God. It's like our communication with God. And so that's why I loved digging into that, and then seeing my children's prayer life develop through that too, how they can, see, oh, there's more. It's an actual conversation. It's not just, thank you, God, for my food. Thank you for my family. Amen. So I'm so glad that has been helpful to you as well. So let's see here. I think I may have skipped over one of our other questions, but so what would y'all say for someone who might be a teacher again and again and again, and they're just getting burned out? We're just like, it's hard to keep coming up with stuff, or how would you encourage someone who might be uninspired or maybe a little discouraged?
I guess I'll take that one on, because I've seen that time and time again over the years. And I think it's just encouraging others. It may be simple as sending somebody a thank you card for teaching this quarter, or just saying, hey, how can I help you out? You need somebody else to help. And if you take it personal, for me, it's just about refocusing my thoughts and expectation, thinking of those children. Why do I do that? Those children will be the souls of our next generation of leaders, the souls of our next generation of leaders in our congregations. And that's really important. And that should motivate each one of us, whether you're the person helping clean that classroom, which is very important, or whether you're the person helping prepare materials, or you're the person actually doing the teaching on Sunday morning. You're helping prepare that next generation of souls of leaders.
Definitely. Sarah, I know you've been in that position too, where you're constant. I know it's part of it is probably your passion. Both of you are passionate about it, but what would you say to someone?
I feel like this is a very obvious answer I learned over time, is rest yourself. Like, take a rest yourself. I was staying up till 2 a.m. most nights working on Bible class stuff, and I was burnt out. I was writing curriculum. I was having health issues. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I prayed about it constantly. And I just said, God, show me what you want. Show me what I need to do. And I felt like the answer kept coming back to, you need to rest. You need to refresh. You need to recharge yourself. Prioritize what's important right now and let go of some things. And for me, that actually let go of actual more worldly things, like the television. I don't watch TV very much. And when I do, I watch The Chosen because I enjoy it and studying it. I've been reading my Bible along with it. But that was refreshing for me because it was watching something, but I had my Bible open in front of me the entire time and I was learning. I was growing and resting myself, but really just resting was such a key. My husband will tell you he has heard the word Sabbath so many times come out of my mouth doing the shadows of Christ. But I think God intended us to rest. He never intended us to be this busy. And so for teachers that are feeling burned out, rest. Take a break where you can. Take a breath. Things will get done. Somehow, some way, things will get done. And if some things slide, then they slide. But just remember, at the end of the day, who are you helping get to heaven with you? Who are you bringing in that closer relationship with God? And your priorities will fall into place.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a hard thing to do, to rest. I don't think, especially as mothers, like we don't get that as much, but we have to plan it. So we only got about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to go to the questions real quick, and we'll try to give some concise answers. This is so hard. But we're going to go back and like maybe answer some of the comments. So our first question, we kind of answered this before. Amber Brown was asking, what are your favorite computer programs for creating visual aids, worksheets? We've kind of answered that with PowerPoint, Canva. We got a question on the live chat, if I can pull it up. I think it was from Alina Millard. What digital licenses do you think are the best to start with for making your own work pages? Sarah, can you take that one?
That was a rough one for me.
That's true. You may have trouble limiting
all
yourself.
of them.
If someone's just starting out.
Yes, someone just starting out. I like the 17 time periods pack because it's a Bible index for me. Because it's, okay, I can place this story in here. I can place this story in here, place this story in here. I like the generations people because even if you don't have the story cards, just having the people, the kids can act them out and stuff. I've done that before where I've just printed out people and they've acted it out. Because I use it so much, I actually almost have all 500 memorized, like what they're wearing. Caleb likes testing me.
I don't even do that.
Caleb likes testing me in that regard sometimes. But just, I would start out with the 17 time periods or even like the review pack where it's just an overview of the Bible. I think sometimes we get so caught up in different time periods, we forget the whole story of the Bible. It all comes together as one story. And then
yeah, and I think
I'll leave it at that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll just leave it at that because I could go over every.
I know. From Instagram, ID Zave was asking, I'm not sure where to start with curriculum. Do you have lesson plans or can teach us how to incorporate digital files into our classrooms? I'm going to try and post some of our reels where we've shown how we can do that. And so, because we're technically not a curriculum yet, we actually are working on that because I know some people feel more comfortable with a curriculum, just kind of like a guide. But I'll just echo what Sarah said, like 17 time periods in cycle 2, it organizes your Bible knowledge. I would definitely start there along with Bob Waldron's guide. And then Karen, if you can answer, this question, yes, how do you help visitors who may not have any Bible knowledge feel welcome while keeping the rest of your class engaged? This was actually my question that I put on Instagram.
That's funny. I've always assigned a buddy student. So when we have a visitor, one of my students, you always have that student who's a regular there, could teach the class if you were out, but we're not going to do that. So I always assign a buddy student. So I just introduce them and set them by each other, and you're to take care of them. And we've talked about that when a visitor's not there, that you may be a buddy student, especially like in Bible Lab, there's buddy students. In my Sunday and evening class, I have a buddy student.
I love that. And because recently, like we've been visiting, a new congregation, and when, your kids are going into a new classroom, it can still be intimidating. As extroverted as my kids are, it can still be intimidating, like going into. And so I love that because you're teaching, young children to see other kids. It's not just about what if they're having fun, but seeing another person
Well,
who
and then
you
connect with that family engagement. I usually text that parent and say, Alexandra was a buddy student today. This is what she did. And that, again, is connecting back with that family.
right. Okay. Let's see. What does this is from Megan McDonald. What does your order of events in class typically look like, and how much time do you allot to each section? Like prayer 2 minutes, lesson 15 minutes. Karen, can you explain that in 2 minutes? Oh,
I take the age of the child, and that sets the minutes for each activity.
oh,
It really
that makes so much sense.
that's an old teaching strategy. If they're 10, they can last 10 minutes. So that tells me they're 2, then I got a 2-minute activity. I got to have a lot of 2-minute activities.
That's great. Sarah, what about you?
Yes, this is why my son does not like me as a teacher. I don't teach class the same way, the same time, anytime. My middle schoolers will tell you she is scattered brained. Because I want, especially with like the older ones, if they're engaged in a different part of the lesson, I want to stay in that engagement. I want to further that point to it. So I'll allow for that. For younger kids, I'm learning with 9, 2, and 3-year-olds, I'm going to have to do it. So I like the 2-minute tip because I will be two. But I'm not the person to ask for that.
Okay. We got another question from Elizabeth Price. Where do you go to come up with ideas, interactive activities, and games to use to help younger students learn, not just the visuals, but like take home crafts or coming up with role play? Like where do you get inspired? Karen?
I go back just to some experiences I've had in early
That's true. You've been
childhood.
teaching for a long time.
Basic. I was a teacher and taught trained teachers. So just looking at some of those basic skills, and you know them as moms and grandmothers, what keeps that child engaged? We know those puppets that Sarah had a while ago. That's an engaging kind of activity. Whether it's my story stones that a 2-year-old can move around, whether it's a worksheet that is engaging to middle school students. But just thinking of, and I rambled, I just realized that, just thinking out of the box, whether
Right.
it's a box, what can I do with that box? I remember one time I gave every kid, and we did the life of Joseph in a diorama form, and then we presented it to the younger class.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say, those who are on social media, y'all look up Sarah Liggins' Instagram. It's now, of course, I forgot. Liggin Bible Class. What is it?
Liggin Bible Class Ideas.
So if y'all need ideas, go look up Sarah's page. She's also on Facebook, I think more so Instagram right now, but she has tons of ideas, which is also why I asked for her help to work on the monthly mustard seeds, because I know that my strength is like in the class, in the moment. Someone else's strength might be actually creating activities. And so it's finding all these different gifts from different people and saying, hey, could you help me for this? And not feel like, oh, I have to do all of this. I need to, maybe we're not striving for perfection, but we're just like, oh, I've seen this person do the activities and write curriculum, and like find what your skill set is, and then you will naturally thrive in the Bible class. So it's okay if you're not great at making activities. Obviously, we have monthly mustard seeds page. Sometimes I'll go to Teachers Pay Teachers. That's another great website. There's ideas on Pinterest. But getting, like, I know Holly Sater is someone else that I will go to look for ideas. So, but if you're looking on Instagram, look up Sarah Liggin. I think we're definitely going to have to do another one of these, because I feel like we've only come on the very tip of the scale. I don't even know how to say that right. And plus, we've had a few glitches. Starting and stopping with the internet and everything like that. So thank you guys for your patience on that. And if I have missed anyone's questions, we're definitely looking through the comments, and we'll go back and answer because we want to encourage you guys. So everyone has commented on this live and on the recording will be entered in a giveaway for our Drills and Themes digital license. So that includes the days of creation, it includes the books of the Bible, it includes the 10 commandments, the fruit of the Spirit, the armor of God, just some some foundations that are good to have in the classroom. And you can change them in any form where, like, since it's a digital license, you can print it out to any size that you want, or put it in a work page, or blow it up big to put it on a bulletin board. So we're excited to give that away today to one of you who are commenting. Thank you so much. And if you share this, we'd love to encourage others as well. And then as soon as we get off here, I'll be starting the discount code. We're also giving a discount today, 15% off our classroom digital, our single and classroom digital licenses for 15% off today. And I will link the code. Teaching the Bible 15 is going to be the code. So I'll make sure that's in the copy today. So thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Thank Karen and Sarah for sharing